first time I ever met Amanda was when I just started working at LA Fitness.
Well, we were just so blessed because Amanda was our first granddaughter. We had a grandson, Amanda's brother, but we did not have a granddaughter. So it was like, wow, we have us a granddaughter.
Well, I actually met her the first time was my sophomore year, and it's actually Jason's fault. We were in art together, her brother, and we were talking about it, and we had tryouts that day, and he's like, oh, my sister's trying out. So I didn't meet her the first day, but the second day I went out and I looked for her, and I wanted her to come hang out with me and T, and it was, from then on, best friends.
She's gorgeous, and so she caught my eye, definitely.
She played volleyball, and I just remember watching her. She was older, just kind of looked up to her. And then she went to high school, and that's where she met my older sister, T. And T kind of took her under her wing, and they became really close. So when I finally got up to freshman year with Amanda, being a sophomore, we just became friends.
Amanda is somebody who is always fun.
When we started talking, you know, she's very sincere and caring.
Whenever she is at our house, she's always just full of life.
She has a natural curiosity and an energy level that is really outstanding.
She's wonderful. She's beautiful, and she's always so positive. She always did positive things for everyone. She always thought of other people.
Tore my ACL during one of our high school games. I went in for surgery. A couple weeks later, who was there? Amanda, 6 a.m., bright and early. Heard her mom, coffee in her hands, ready to go.
She's like 5'2", and she played volleyball, and no matter what, she would always jump as high as any other girl. She worked so hard. She hustled. Even when somebody messed up, she'd be like, come on, you got it. Just shake it off. You can do it. It just made me want to be better.
She's awesome. She gets along with everybody. She'll make anyone feel comfortable, talks to everybody. She's sweet, she jokes around, real laid back, at the same time very outgoing.
I love her because she's confident. I love her because she makes me a better person. I love her because she's great.
It's just amazing how many areas that she excels in. Maybe one of the most obvious is her ability to capture the friendship of others.
No one, would be uncomfortable around her.
Well, that night we decided to go snowboarding, and I'd never gone, so of course it was going to be an adventure. And so we're driving up there, and it's windy as no other, and so that was crazy trying not to drive off the side of a mountain, and we just couldn't stop laughing from the second we drove up the mountain. And we get there, and the first time we get off the ski lift, of course, I fall, take her out, and we split because there's another couple coming up behind us. And she's laughing at me still, so I'm like, ugh. So I go to grab a snowball, or what I thought was a snowball, and it ended up being a big chunk of ice. And I didn't realize this until I threw it. And for the first time in my life, I hit my target, and it hit her square in the face, and she started bleeding. Like, she starts laughing and turns over, so I think she's okay. But when she turns back, she's laughing and smiling, and her teeth are full of blood. Like, it made her have a fat lip. Her nose was bleeding. Like, oh my gosh, it was crazy. And all she could do was laugh.
I never smiled so much. Never been so happy.
Amazing friend. Loyal, trustworthy, everything. All the above. Anything you want to name about a character, she's that.
I can't be without her.
Time passes by so quickly, but I guess I thought you'd be here forever.
I was with her that night. We went. She met me at work, and then we went and ate dinner.
So I call my voicemail, and it's T. And T goes, I need to tell you something. And I hear her sniff. She's like, you need to call me back. And I was like, oh, crap, something's wrong. It's either Tori or Amanda.
I had a couple drinks, and then we talked, and then we were going to go home, and I didn't have a phone at that point. So when I got home, I called her cell phone probably 20 times, and I didn't get an answer.
So I call her back, and I'm like, what is it? What's wrong? And she goes, oh, there's been an accident. I was like, okay, someone hurt. She's like, Amanda's dead. And I was like, for a second, I didn't hear the last part of it. I go, what? And she's like, Amanda's gone.
I talked to her mom, and she told me, and I didn't want to believe it. I couldn't think. I couldn't move. I just froze.
I saw our boss at Starbucks, so I went to go get a coffee, and he told me, and I couldn't believe it. My heart just dropped. Could not believe it.
It was the worst pain I've ever felt in my whole life.
I heard about the accident when Cathrine called me in the morning saying that Amanda was in an accident and she passed away. And I couldn't believe it at first. And then she gave me more information about the fire, and I still couldn't believe it.
I got this phone call from my wife, Nancy, and I can recall staring out at the golf course, and she gave me the news. It was totally unbelievable. I can remember just staring off into space, and the silence was so long that Nancy would say, hello, are you there?
I got a phone call from Kathy, and Amanda's been in an accident, and he keeps going, and I said, and she's in an accident, and he said, and he just, it was like the phone went dead. There was just nothing after I told him. I said, are you still there? Are you still there? And there must have been 2 minutes of silence on the other end of the line. It was like he, too, was just in shock.
And the impact was so monumental that it actually left me numb.
I immediately went to the bridge and took her flowers and tried to say goodbye.
I basically fell apart.
I'd never met Amanda, but I'd heard stories through Cathrine, and I don't know, I just kind of immediately felt her loss.
I just could not believe it. It took a very long time for me to comprehend and to process not having Amanda with us anymore.
It's been a long couple months now, but it's still hard for me to process that I won't see her again.
But you just have an overwhelming desire to help or just get back and hug your daughter.
She was the love of my life, so that's a feeling I'm not ever going to have with anyone else.
I wish I had had more time with her. I wish I could have seen her just one more time, just given her a big hug.
You never know how fast you can lose someone. You don't even think about it until they're gone. And then that's the worst feeling you'll ever feel.
When I found out, I was hurt.
I would give anything just to have her here with me, to hold her one more time.
If you do drink, don't drive. And if you're a good friend and you're a non-drinker, take care of the people that do drink. watch over them. He can make a big impact.
You want to get home and you've been drinking and you're just like, well, I'll just drive myself. I'm not that bad. Just think about all the people that would miss you, all the people you'd affect.
If we didn't go out that night and drink, none of this would have happened. You know, if I didn't think it was okay for her to drive home, none of this would have happened. If we would have stayed longer, she'd still be with me right now.
People don't take it seriously. They think they could have a couple beers and drive and everything will be all right. But sometimes it doesn't end up that way.
The sight of alcohol now makes me want to hate it. Because it took away her.
Just don't drink and drive. It's not necessary. There's someone that will pick you up. I mean, your parents, even though they'll be mad at you, will come pick you up. They'd rather you be home and safe in bed than on the side of the road.
It's not worth it. It's not worth it to drink and drive.
It only takes that one time that you say, oh, I'm fine, I can drive. It can cost you your life.
All right. We'll wrestle someone if they try and get in the car.
The few minutes of awkwardness or whatever is definitely worth it. To never get to see them again, I'd go through a lot more than just a few minutes of awkwardness or a little fight or an argument. It's definitely worth it.
You never know when you're going to have to go through it yourself. And you don't want to. And you don't want to have to go through it.
You're not driving. I'm not losing another friend. I can't do it. And that usually works.
That's how I learn, you know. Now it applies to me.
If tomorrow never comes, I would want just one thing. I would tell it to the stars and the sun.